Hello, story lovers. Welcome to Learn English with Stories 365, your happy place for fun English practice. Today, we're jumping into something very exciting. It's all about the new Snow White movie and its big makeover. This movie is coming out soon, on March 21st, 2025, and people are talking about it a lot. Why? Because there's a big controversy. A controversy is when people have a big argument or disagreement about something, and this movie has lots of arguments going on. Some people love it and some people don't. So, what's happening with Snow White? Let's find out together.
First, let's talk about what this movie is. It's a remake. A remake is a new version of an old movie or story. You might know the old Snow White from 1937. It was a cartoon movie made by Disney, and it's very famous. The new movie is different. It's not a cartoon, it's a live-action film with real people. Disney decided to take this old story and give it a fresh look. They picked new actors, changed some parts of the story, and made it feel new. This is where the controversy starts. Some people are excited about the changes, but others say, no, this isn't the Snow White we know. One big part of this controversy is about casting. Casting means choosing actors to play characters in a film. In this movie, Rachel Zegler is Snow White and Gal Gadot is the evil queen. These are famous actors and they're great at acting. But some people don't like the casting choices. They say Rachel Zegler doesn't look like the Snow White from the old cartoon. In the cartoon, Snow White has very white skin, black hair, and red lips. Rachel Zegler has a different look, and that's making people talk. Some say it's good to have new faces, but others want the movie to look like the classic. A classic is something old, but loved by many people. So should the movie stay the same, or is it okay to change it? That's a big question. Now, why are we talking about this today? Because this movie is a hot topic right now in March 2025. People are arguing about it online, on TV, and even with their friends. It's not just about Snow White, it's about how we tell stories today. Should old stories stay the same, or should they change to fit our world now? This is called a debate. A debate is when people talk about different opinions on a topic. And this debate is everywhere. Some people say the changes are exciting and modern. Others say they don't like it because it's too different from the classic Snow White. What do you think? Do you like movie remakes or do you prefer the classics? We're going to explore all of this in today's video, so stick around. Here's what's coming up. First, we'll look at the old Snow White story and how it's different in the new movie. Then we'll dig into the big controversy, what's making people so upset. After that, we'll see how fans, critics, and even Disney are reacting. And finally, we'll talk about why this matters to all of us. It's going to be a fun journey, and you'll learn new English words along the way. Today, we've already learned some important ones. Controversy means a big argument. Remake means a new version of something old. Casting is choosing actors. Classic is something old and loved. And debate is talking about different opinions. Practice these words with me, say them out loud. They'll help you talk about movies and stories in English. So are you ready to dive into the world of Snow White's new look? This movie is full of surprises and it's making people think and talk. Whether you love remakes or classics, there's something here for you. Let's keep going and see what all the fuss is about. Stay with us on Learn English with Stories 365. We're just getting started. Part 2. The story of Snow White, then and now. Let's travel back in time to a magical world. The story of Snow White is a fairy tale. A fairy tale is a magical story with princesses, heroes, or villains. It's one of the most famous fairy tales ever, and it started a long time ago. The story is about a beautiful princess named Snow White. She has skin as white as snow, hair as black as night, and lips as red as a rose. But her stepmother, the evil queen, is jealous. The queen wants to be the most beautiful person in the land. She sends Snow White away, and the princess meets 7 dwarfs who live in a little house. These dwarfs are small, funny, and kind. They help Snow White hide from the queen. Later, the queen tricks Snow White with a poisoned apple. Snow White falls asleep, but a prince wakes her up with a kiss. They live happily ever after. It's a simple, sweet story that people love. Now, let's talk about how this fairy tale became a movie. In 1937, Disney made the first Snow White film. It was an animation. Animation means a movie made with drawings or cartoons. The characters were not real people, they were drawings. This movie was special because it was Disney's first big animated film. Kids and adults loved it. The colors were bright, the songs were happy, and the 7 dwarfs talk: grumpy, happy, sleepy, bashful, sneezy, and dopey were so much fun. People still watch this movie today because it's a classic. But in 2025, Disney is giving Snow White a new look with a different kind of movie. This time, it's not animation, it's live action. Live action means a movie with real people instead of cartoons. Real actors play Snow White, the evil queen, and everyone else. It's a big change. The new movie stars to famous actors. Rachel Ziegler plays Snow White, and Gal Gadot plays the evil queen. Rachel is young and has a beautiful voice. She's perfect for singing Snow White's songs. Gal Gadot is strong and amazing. She makes a great evil queen. This live-action film is an adaptation. An adaptation is when you change a story to make it new or different. The new movie keeps some parts of the old fairy tale, but it also adds new ideas. For example, the 7 dwarfs are not the same as before. In the old movie, they were little cartoon characters with funny names. In the new movie, Disney changed them. Some people say there are no dwarfs at all. Instead, there might be different helpers for Snow White. This is one reason why people are talking about the movie so much. Why did Disney make this adaptation? They wanted to bring Snow White to a new audience. The world is different now than it was in 1937. Disney wants to show Snow White in a way that feels fresh and exciting for people today. The old animation is iconic. Iconic means something famous and unforgettable. But Disney thinks a live-action movie can tell the story in a new way. They added real actors, new scenes, and modern ideas. Some people are excited to see Snow White come to life with real people. They can't wait to hear Rachel Ziegler sing and see Gal Gadot as the evil queen. But not everyone is happy. Some people say, why change an iconic story? That's where the controversy comes in, and we'll talk more about that soon. So now you know the story of Snow White. then and now. It started as a fairy tale with a princess and dwarfs. Then it became an animated movie in 1937. And now, in 2025, it's a live-action adaptation with real actors and big changes. Let's practice some new words from this part. Fairy tale is a magical story. Animation is a movie with drawings. Live action is a movie with real people. Adaptation means changing a story. And iconic means something famous and unforgettable. Say these words with me. They'll help you talk about Snow White and other movies. Next, we'll look at why this new movie is making people argue. It's going to be fun. Stay with us on Learn English with Stories 365. Part 3. What's the big controversy? Now it's time to dig into the exciting part. Why is this new Snow White movie causing such a big controversy? People are arguing a lot about this film, and it's all over the news in March 2025. One big reason is representation. Representation means showing different kinds of people in movies or stories. In the old Snow White cartoon from 1937, Snow White has very white skin, black hair, and red lips. That's how the fairy tale described her. But in the new movie, Rachel Zegler plays Snow White. Rachel is a talented actress with a different background. She's Latina. Some people love this choice. They say it's great to see more diversity in movies. Diversity means including people from different backgrounds. They think Snow White can look different and still be amazing. But other people don't agree. They want Snow White to look like she did in the old cartoon. This brings us to another big word: fidelity. Fidelity means staying true to the original story or idea. Some fans of the classic Snow White movies say the new film should have fidelity. They want Snow White to look and act the same as she did in 1937. They think Rachel Zegler doesn't match the fairy tale because her skin isn't as white as snow. They also don't like that the story is changing. For example, the 7 dwarfs are different in the new movie. In the old cartoon, the dwarves were small, funny characters with names like Grumpy and Dopey. But in the new live-action film, Disney decided not to use real dwarfs. Instead, they might use different characters or even special effects. Some people say this change takes away the heart of the story. They want fidelity to the classic tale they know and love. All these changes have caused a big reaction called backlash. Backlash is a strong negative reaction from people. When Disney announced Rachel Zegler as Snow White, some fans were upset. They went online and said, "This isn't our Snow White." They started petitions and wrote messages asking Disney to change the movie. Then, when people heard about the dwarves, the backlash grew even bigger. Some fans said, Snow White needs her 7 dwarfs. Why change them? They feel like the movie isn't the Snow White they remember. But other people are happy about the changes. They say it's good to have diversity and new ideas. They think the movie can still be special, even if it's different. This argument is what makes the controversy so loud right now. Let's talk more about diversity. In today's world, many people want movies to show all kinds of people, not just one type. They say Snow White can be a Latina princess, and that's okay. Rachel Zegler is a great singer and actress, and her background makes the story feel fresh. Supporters of the new movie think this is a chance to show kids that anyone can be a princess. But other people care more about tradition. Tradition means keeping things the way they've always been. They say Snow White is a classic fairy tale from Europe, and it should stay true to its old roots. They don't want the story to change too much. They think tradition is important, and the new movie is breaking that tradition. So, what's the big controversy? It's about representation versus fidelity, diversity versus tradition. Some people cheer for a new Snow White who looks different and brings new ideas. Others want the movie to stay close to the classic story they grew up with. The changes to the dwarfs and the casting of Rachel Zegler have made people talk and argue. It's a big debate, and everyone has an opinion. Let's practice some words from this part. Representation is showing different people. Fidelity is staying true to the original. Backlash is a strong negative reaction. Diversity means including different backgrounds. And tradition is keeping things the same as before. Say these words with me. They'll help you understand this controversy. Next, we'll see how people are reacting to all this. It's getting exciting. Stay with us on Learn English with Stories 365. Part 4. How are people reacting? The new Snow White movie is making waves, and people can't stop talking about it. As we get closer to the premiere, everyone has something to say. The premiere is the first time a movie is shown to the public, and for this film, it's happening on March 21st, 2025. But here's the exciting part: fans, critics, and even famous people are reacting to the changes in this movie. Some love it, some hate it, and it's all happening right now in March 2025. Let's see what people are saying and how this controversy is growing. First, let's talk about the fans. Some fans are giving the movie a lot of support. Support means agreeing with or liking something. They're excited about Rachel Zegler as Snow White. They say she's a great actress and singer, and they love that she brings diversity to the role. These fans think it's important for movies to show different kinds of people. They're cheering for the new ideas in the film, like the changes to the 7 dwarfs. They say it's a fresh story, and that's okay. But not all fans feel this way. Other fans are upset. They don't like the changes and want the movie to stay closer to the classic Snow White. They're writing messages online, starting petitions, and asking Disney to rethink the film. This mix of support and anger is making the conversation very loud. Next, let's look at the critics. Critics are people who watch movies and write about them. They often share their opinions in the media. The media means TV, newspapers, and websites that share news. Some critics are praising the movie. They say it's brave to make Snow White different and modern. They like that Disney is trying something new with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. But other critics are giving criticism. Criticism means saying what's wrong or bad about something. These critics say the movie doesn't respect the original story. They think the changes to the dwarfs and the casting of Snow White are too big. They're writing articles and talking on TV about why they don't like it. The media is full of these different opinions, and it's keeping the controversy alive. Even Disney is reacting to all this noise. The company planned a big premiere for Snow White, but something surprising happened. Because of all the backlash and arguments, Disney decided to make the premiere smaller. They didn't want too much attention on the controversy. This shows how much the reactions are affecting the movie. The impact is huge. Impact means how something changes or affects other things. The arguments online, the petitions from fans, and the words from critics are all having an impact on Disney. Some people think this means Disney might be worried. Others say it's just a smart move to keep things calm before the movie comes out. Either way, the reactions are shaping how people see this film. So how are people reacting? It's a big mix of feelings. Some fans and critics support the new Snow White and its changes. They're excited for a modern story with diversity. But others are angry and want the classic tale back. They're giving criticism and asking for the movie to stay true to the original. The media is sharing all these opinions, and Disney is feeling the impact. It's a hot topic, and everyone is part of this big conversation. Let's practice some words from this part. Premiere is the first showing of a movie. Support means agreeing with something. Criticism is saying what's bad. Media is where we get news. And impact is how something affects others. Say these words with me. They'll help you talk about reactions. Next, we'll see why this matters to all of us. It's getting deeper. Stay with us on Learn English with Stories 365. Part 5. Why does this matter? We've talked about the new Snow White movie, the big controversy, and how people are reacting. But now, let's ask a big question. Why does this matter? This isn't just about a movie. It's about stories, movies, and even us. The changes in Snow White have an implication. Implication means what something means for the future. This movie could change how we tell stories and make films. It's making people think about what's important in remakes. Should they stay the same, or should they change to fit our world today? Let's explore why this is a big deal for everyone. One reason this matters is because it's about how we tell stories. Movies and fairy tales are a big part of our lives. They help us feel happy, sad, or excited. When Disney changes Snow White, it's not just about one film. It's about how we relate to stories. Relate means to connect one thing to another. Some people relate to the old Snow White because they grew up with it. They love the classic cartoon and the Seven Dwarfs. But others relate to the new Snow White because it shows diversity. They see Rachel Zegler and think, she's like me. This movie is asking us to consider what stories mean to us. Consider means to think carefully about something. Should stories stay the same, or should they change to show new people and ideas? Another reason this matters is because it's part of a bigger debate. People are talking about diversity and tradition, just like we said before. But this isn't just about Snow White, it's about all movies. Many people want films to show different kinds of people. They think it's important for kids to see heroes who look like them. That's why some love the new Snow White. But others think tradition is more important. They want stories to stay the same as they were years ago. This debate has an opinion from everyone. Opinion means what you think or believe about something. Some say change is good. Others say keep the classics. This movie is making us talk about what we want from stories and films in the future. Finally, this matters because it's about importance. Importance means how much something matters. Stories like Snow White are important to many people. They bring us together and make us feel special. When Disney changes the story, it can feel like a big deal. Some people are happy because they see a new kind of princess. Others are upset because they miss the old Snow White. This movie shows us that stories have power. They can make us argue, think, and feel. The implication of this controversy is big. It's about how we keep telling stories for years to come. Will we keep changing them, or will we hold on to the past? That's why this matters to all of us, not just movie fans. So why does this matter? It's about how we relate to stories, the debate between diversity and tradition, and the importance of storytelling. This isn't just about Snow White, it's about what we want from movies and fairy tales. What do you think? Do you like the changes in the new Snow White, or do you prefer the classic? Tell us your opinion in the comments below. Let's practice some words from this part. Implication is what something means for the future. Relate means to connect things. Consider is to think carefully. Opinion is what you believe. And importance is how much something matters. Say these words with me. They'll help you talk about big ideas. Next, we'll wrap up everything we've learned. Stay with us on Learn English with Stories 365. We've had an amazing journey today talking about the new Snow White movie. We started with the big controversy and why people are arguing about this film. Then we looked at the old Snow White story and how it's different in the new live-action version with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. After that, we dug into what's causing all the fuss, things like casting changes and the new look for the Seven Dwarfs. We also saw how fans, critics, and even Disney are reacting to this makeover. Some people love it and some don't. Finally, we talked about why this matters to all of us, not just as a movie, but as a way we tell stories and think about change. It's been a fun ride, and I hope you learned a lot. This new Snow White movie shows us something important. Change can be tricky, but it's all part of storytelling. The world is different now than it was in 1937 when the first Snow White came out. Some people want stories to stay the same, and that's okay. Others want stories to grow and show new faces, and that's okay too. This movie is making us talk and think about what we love in our fairy tales. Whether you're excited for the premiere on March 21st, 2025, or you prefer the classic cartoon, there's something special about Snow White. It brings us together, even when we disagree. That's the magic of stories. They make us feel and share our thoughts.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Learn English with Stories 365. I hope you enjoyed this video and practiced your English with all the new words we learned. We talked about controversy, remakes, casting, and so much more. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It helps us make more fun stories for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new video. We're here every week with exciting stories to help you learn English. And we'd love to hear from you. What do you think about the new Snow White? Do you like the changes, or do you miss the classic? Tell us in the comments below. I read every one, and it makes me so happy to see your ideas. That's all for today, story lovers. Keep practicing your English and keep enjoying stories. They're a great way to learn and have fun. I'll see you next time with another exciting tale on Learn English with Stories 365. Until then, take care, stay happy, and keep telling your own stories. Bye for now.